Russian drone strikes in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro have killed at least 3 people, one of them a child. Dozens more were injured in the attack late on Wednesday. The bombs destroyed homes, student dormitories and university facilities and several vehicles. Multiple fires broke out across the city, but all have been extinguished. Zein Basravi standing by for us in Kyiv with the latest on all of this. Zein, what more do we know about this array of latest attacks?
Well, we know that at least 5 of the injured were children, 15 buildings damaged, of course. These were educational facilities, there was a food processing plant, and several private residences. Multiple fires broke out in this area that many people describe included landmarks, and the mayor said that the intended target seemed to have been City Hall, but it missed. Initial fatalities included a young woman, as well as an elderly woman who was killed after the fact. And a total of 16 people remain hospitalized, 1 in critical condition. I mean, the Dnipro, this strike is the latest in a series of strikes that have continued to hit civilian areas. And the aftermath of these incidents clearly show that these are civilian targets. And Ukrainians say even if there were military targets in the area, it is clear that the cost of these attacks is being paid primarily by the civilians living in those cities.
Zein, we've had the Americans in Moscow meeting with Vladimir Putin. Now the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is heading to Paris to, we assume, try and find some common ground with the Europeans. What's the response to all of that? What are the hopes there in Ukraine?
Well, the hopes for any sort of peace negotiated by the United States, that is something Ukrainians still remain quite hopeful for, but simultaneously skeptical that it will work out in their favor. Now, this morning, we do know from the head of the office of President Zelenskyy, Andriy Yermak, that himself, as well as the foreign minister and the defense minister of Ukraine, have arrived in France, in Paris, for talks. They're planning on holding a series of bilateral and multilateral meetings, all with a goal to try to continue to secure this support from countries like France, Germany, and the UK. And we also know from this statement from the president's office that they are also planning to meet with U.S. Representative, presumably Marco Rubio, when he is there. He was also present in the Oval Office, and of course the U.S. Secretary of State was the one that ushered Zelenskyy to leave the White House after that Oval Office meeting we saw some weeks ago that really reset the relationship between the United States and Ukraine, and not necessarily in Ukraine's favor. Now, we've been speaking to members of parliament who say they know that they still need the United States, and they're still hopeful that there will be an about-face on what Zelenskyy has continued to describe as hearing a Russian narrative from U.S. officials. No doubt the delegation that's gone to Paris today will hope for a different narrative from the U.S. Secretary of State.
All right, Zein, many thanks for that. Zein Basravi there in Kyiv.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.